designed to tear prey apart.
And as it pulled me down again, it got the big chunk off my leg.
Once almost extinct in America, these beasts are now growing to unprecedented size.
They're at a size where humans can be considered potential prey.
They seem to be everywhere.
They are targeting mankind. With alarming frequency. Now, Monster Quest sets out to investigate the world's biggest killer crocodiles.
That's okay. Check that guy out.
My God.
Wow. Now that is a monster.
Witnesses around the world report seeing monsters. Are they real or imaginary? Science searches for answers. On Monster Quest. The Florida coast is a family vacation destination with pristine beaches, amusement parks, diverse wildlife, and something else. One of the oldest predators in history, killer crocodiles. The worldwide casualties are staggering. Between 1,000 and 2,000 people are killed or maimed each year by these giant monsters.
For one thing, it grows to a huge size, and human beings are prey items.
A swimming pair of jaws is what makes crocs such formidable predators.
They do have the potential to reach 20 feet or more.
Eyewitnesses report seeing monster-sized crocodiles. They range in size from 16 to 30 feet and weigh in excess of 2 to 3 tons. These carnivorous reptiles are dark in color, with a long set of sharp, serrated teeth inside a powerful jaw, which can generate up to 3,000 pounds of force. Human encounters are growing more and more frequent. In 2009, residents of Coral Gables, Florida, complained that crocodiles were invading their backyards and devouring their pets. Every year, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission responds to more than 100 frantic calls of crocodile close encounters.
Right here is in the part where the tooth slid down.
It was a late summer day on Playa Hermosa in Costa Rica. 13-year-old Floridian Dakota Kilbride was surfing the break just off the beach. But instead of catching the perfect ride, something caught him.
I was paddling, duck dived that wave, and then the crocodile went around, and then it came up right behind me. It grabbed me, and then it tried to pull me down one time. And I looked forward, and I looked in the middle of my board, and I said, I'm not going underwater. And then it shook me side, side, side again to try and get me loose off the board, and then pulled me down again. And as it pulled me down again, it got the big chunk off my leg.
Dakota doesn't know how, but he managed to make it to shore. Two friends witnessed the attack.
He didn't scream, but I just knew something was wrong.
And basically, the next thing I know, Andrea is pretty much starting to run.
The teenager was bleeding profusely and needed immediate medical attention.
And then I just heard someone say, please don't let me die. And I looked up and it was Dakota. And I was like, oh my God, that's my friend's little boy.
The closest hospital was more than 3 hours away and the wound was massive. Somehow he survived the long trip and doctors fought to save his life and his leg. It took multiple surgeries to repair the damage, but Dakota will bear the scars and the haunting fears for the rest of his life.
Well, right here, this is the bite, part of the bite, right here. Right here is in the part where the tooth slid down.
The creature behind the horrifying attack was a species known as the American crocodile. It is the only crocodile native to the United States, with a population concentrated along the southern tip of Florida. The species is known to grow to between 10 to 12 feet in length and weigh an average of 500 pounds. Recently, there has been an increase in reports of much larger crocodiles measuring over 15 feet and weighing more than 2 tons.
I've been a professional captain for over
30 years. I fish out of a 16-foot Generation 3 John boat. It's 48 inches on the bottom, 60 inches across the top, and I am not exaggerating. I know this crocodile is easily as long as that boat and certainly as wide across the back as that boat is at the bottom, 4 feet wide across.
In prehistoric times, a monster super croc roamed the earth and grew to sizes of up to 40 feet. But experts like University of Chicago paleontologist Paul Sereno says that such supersized crocodiles went extinct long ago and discounts speculation that these giants could return.
Today, crocs are a shadow, probably, of what their ultimate sizes were for most species, because they've been decimated, most of them. And it really takes crocs a long time to reach their absolute maximum size. We probably 100 years ago, 150 years ago, would have had a better shot at knowing how big the biggest crocs could get than today.
Not all experts agree.
And once the animal reaches like 15 feet in length or more, they're at a size where humans can be considered potential prey.
Biologist Joe Wasilewski has studied the American crocodile for most of his life. He says the population is growing.
Back 20 years ago, there was very few animals, and they have exploded. At a power plant here in South Florida, there was 520 hatchlings in 1 year, last year alone. That is making significant differences in the population.
Croc encounters with man have increased as man has encroached on their habitat. While crocodiles are formidable predators, they are vulnerable to cold temperatures and to any disturbance in their habitat. And this means that in the warm, remote areas of Florida, crocs are able to make their comeback.
And there are interactions now with crocodiles and humans. In fact, they're inhabiting a golf course or two. They are inhabiting canals behind people's homes, several Dade County parks, which is in Miami, and they're pretty much expanding to whatever range that they could here. American crocodiles are potentially dangerous animals, of course, but there's never been an attack from an American crocodile on a human being in Florida, yet.
Florida is the only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles coexist. It is home to more than 1 million alligators. The crocodile population is much smaller, but witnesses often get them confused. Crocodiles are distinguished from alligators by their lighter color, narrower snout, and an exposed tooth on their lower jaw. Misidentification could be responsible for some reports, but any contact between humans and crocodiles is cause for concern.
I've worked enough with alligators and crocs. If there's ever a confrontation, of course I don't bet, but put your money on the croc. Really? Yeah. The croc, it's just amazing. They're faster. They're more athletic.
Wasilewski will lead the Monster Quest expedition to Florida's Everglades to prove the existence of crocodiles larger than the known maximum size of 13 feet. The team will launch the expedition from the southernmost tip of the Everglades National Park. It is the third largest wilderness area in the lower 48 states, covering over 1.5 million acres. Much of the area is subtropical mangrove forests, tidal creeks, and estuaries, a perfect breeding ground for poisonous snakes and large reptiles, and possibly a monster-sized crocodile. And it is here where witnesses report seeing a menacing 16-foot croc.
It provides the best habitat that you could think of for American crocodiles' natural history. They have shelter, they have food, they have varying degrees of salinity, which is necessary.
And it had been several years since I'd been to the Everglades, and I got to say, I was astounded at the number of crocodiles we saw right out of the gate.
Tony Gerard, a biologist who has made several excursions into the Everglades to study snakes and alligators, will join the team. He says the increase in sightings alone is proof that the population is growing.
I mean, we just put in the water, we're already seeing crocodiles.
That's 8-9 foot.
The team is equipped with a variety of cameras and a laser measuring device which they will use to confirm the size of any crocodiles they may see.
Let's talk American crocodiles here. Have the opportunity to live the best lives they could ever live, and they do have the opportunity to grow into huge sizes.
The crocs they've seen so far are within average size for the species.
The one on the right, that's the female. You see, she's what, about 8 feet, maybe 9 feet in length. Actually, that male's bigger than I thought. He's probably 12 or better. I mean, the heck of it.
The beast makes a sudden move.
Whoa.
It's mating season in the Everglades, and the dance has begun.
And he's calling her over right now. Now just watch the head come out. 45-degree angle. No, he's not ready. She is. See? Look at there's the angle. She's just letting him know that she's ready to be courted.
Oh man, I'm stoked. You know, we've been here 15 minutes. We've seen 3 crocodiles, 12-footer. Let's find that big one now.
Let's go. You got the coordinates there. You tell me and we're on our way. All right, let's get going.
They head deeper into the swamp, and the crocodile sightings continue.
Oh man, look at that. That is a big print. Check that out. Look at that. That's bigger than my hand. You can see the claws and everything.
Monster Quest is in Florida hunting for monstrous killer crocodiles that seem to be targeting human prey. The Timucua Indians living here in the 1500s told stories of giant crocodiles that it took 12 men to kill. In 1925, a land surveyor working near Biscayne Bay Lagoon was said to have shot a 14-foot crocodile only to be killed when he tried to pose for a photo. The beast, it turned out, had only been stunned by the shot. The crocodile population declined through the 20th century as they were hunted to the brink of extinction.
When I started working with crocodiles back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was no more than 200 to 300 in the whole U.S., period.
By 1975, crocodiles were listed as endangered and given protected status. Today, the croc population in Florida has made a swift comeback.
Now we figure there's historic numbers, probably 2,000, and that was what was at the beginning of the 20th century, was about that. So there's the same amount with a hell of a lot less territory, or habitat, I guess you could say.
Witnesses here claim to be seeing crocodiles much larger than the 13-footer wildlife officials say exist. The expedition team is searching for an explanation. They're hoping to find out if the American crocodile is growing larger, or if a species of the super croc, long thought extinct, is making a comeback.
There were larger crocs in the past, without a doubt, by almost a factor of 2.
Paleontologist Paul Sereno discovered one of the most complete fossils of the Sarcosuchus imperator, or the super croc, the ultimate apex predator of its time.
You know, super croc is one of the most common fossils we find in this dinosaur bed in the middle of the Sahara. We have dozens of specimens of it, from juvenile sizes, which are as big as the largest modern crocs today, to the behemoth you see behind me. What it did in its life, I think at this size, was eat dinosaurs. You got a bunch of giant conical teeth. They're very short, extremely strong and stubby. And they're sort of overhanging the snout. And when you close these jaws, they don't touch each other, they just grab. And I think that's what super croc was doing. It was grabbing, and not squirming fish. It wouldn't have been that fast. It was grabbing dinosaurs.
The super croc was discovered in Africa in the 1940s. The bones were more than 100 million years old and suggested a mammoth monster.
Well, the weight of an adult male super croc, almost incomprehensible, something like 8 tons.
Experts estimate that this megabeast grew to 40 feet long, the size of a city bus.
This big guy, which is our biggest skull, probably a male, had no body behind it. And so what we had to do was look to modern crocs, and it's a straight line relationship. Now what we had to do was go out and measure crocodiles that looked a little bit more like this in ever existed.
These Monsters likely roamed the Earth some 110 million years ago. The super croc went extinct at the end of the Cretaceous period, 65 million years ago. When the dinosaur prey of the super croc died out, so did the massive predator super croc, leaving behind the crocodiles that we know today.
Modern crocs are incredible predators. No animal on the history of land has been able to walk around efficiently on land. Some even gallop today and then go swimming into the water like a fish. They are formidable predators. They've never given up the dominant role in the waterways for 200 million years.
The world's crocodile population is limited to the Americas, Africa, Australia, and Asia. All 4 continents report an emergence of animals growing far beyond their previous size. India's Predator.National Park in the state of Orissa is home to the saltwater crocodile. The locals tell of a legendary beast known as Kalia, or the Black One.
Kalia was said to be 23 feet long and the largest crocodile that anyone had seen in these parts.
Dr. Romulus Whitaker is a herpetologist who has studied and measured crocodiles all over the globe. He will be heading the Monster Quest science team, which has come to India to investigate reports of the largest killer croc in modern times.
He was a famous crocodile.
The Black One's reign of terror came to an end in 1929 when a local boat captain shot and killed the monster. The skull was taken to the palace of the Raja of Kanaka and locked away. It has remained behind closed doors for 80 years, until now.
When they opened Kalia up, they actually found the ornaments of a large number of women, for example. Bracelets and anklets and stuff like that.
The team has been given permission to measure the skull as part of their investigation. These measurements could be the key to determining whether this was a true monster-sized crocodile or a living relic.
Now this is the monster crocodile of Predator.National. Wow. The skull of Kalia is about 30 inches long and weighs about 70 pounds. It's massive.
Whitaker takes detailed measurements of the skull, which he will later analyze to determine Kalia's true size. The sight of the massive skull makes him more eager than ever to see what lurks in the local waters.
Saltwater crocodiles are found all the way from India to Australia, and no matter where I've traveled or the kind of research I've delved into, nowhere has a real authenticated case of anything over 20 feet long been recorded.
Predator.National is one of the best places where you can see many crocodiles, many saltwater crocodiles. There are some huge ones like 20, 23 feet long.
Dr. Pratyush Mohapatra is a local reptile biologist. He will guide the search. Pratyush says local villagers have recently told terrifying accounts of a massive creature called Masasur, or demon.
I know of 2 young girls who went to the river for washing. Masasur attacked them and grabbed one of the girls. The sister ran for help, but when she returned with her family, the other girl was gone. She was never found and is presumed to be dead.
Crocodiles grow up to certain age. Maybe we don't know how big they grow really. So in Indian condition, maybe 23 feet or a little more than that, maybe less than 25 feet or something like that they grow.
The science team will travel the hundreds of miles of rivers and waterways which crisscross this massive 250 square mile preserve. They will conduct an exhaustive search to find a modern super croc.
We are in Dangmal. We are in Dangmal.
They'll be based out of the small village of Dongmao on the edge of the preserve. The park's warden assigns a ranger and a boat crew to guide the team in the backcountry. It doesn't take long for them to encounter their first crocodiles.
That is a croc. Yeah, that's the size of an adult female. Yeah. And chances are she has a nest site inside here somewhere.
Oh.
That's a good sign to see one so quick, but let's see if we can see the monster croc. I mean, that's what we're after. There's a big crocodile on the left. There.
Yeah.
Center, right? Yeah. That's pretty obvious. It's right on the top. Looks pretty good. 10, 12 feet maybe. You can see a nice slide of him, but you can see a bigger slide just beyond him. That's a big crocodile. See, look at the size of this one. This is a huge one went in. See that? This is monstrous, man.
The park rangers say they recognize the track of the larger crocodile.
That is a monstrous track, man. You know? That would make that crocodile look like a dwarf.
Monster questers in India searching for oversized killer crocodiles. Wildlife experts say the largest known crocs max out at 20 feet, but eyewitnesses in India say they are growing to much larger sizes.
I was here by the water in the evening just 3 days ago.
This ferryboat captain spends hours daily on the waterways of Predator.National Park. He has seen hundreds of crocodiles, but there is one he will never forget.
It was 2 years ago. I saw a deer, a big deer, trying to swim across the river. Then my susur came. I saw my susur swimming just out there. He was very big and very scary. My susur opened his mouth and the deer was gone.
It's early morning when the science team returns to the boat. Today they'll continue their search for what the local villagers call the Big Demon. They will take measurements to determine if these crocs are growing to monstrous sizes. The morning sun has brought out the crocs. From mothers minding their nests to aggressive adolescent males.
Pratyush, get out of the way. Pratyush, get out of the way.
The team receives good news upon encountering some local fishermen. They point to a local village where a monster croc is known to hunt.
Thank you.
The natives tell the story of an old woman being attacked years ago and confirm the crocodile they call Big Demon was seen very recently. They show the team exactly where.
I was here by the water in the evening just 3 days ago. I saw my susur swimming just out there. Then he came on shore right over here and I ran. He was very big and very scary.
The team sets up a camera trap. It is very likely that he will return to this spot where he's known to feed.
Basically, if we aim it straight at that hall out there, and if the crocodile comes, we'll get his picture.
Then they push on, cautiously.
Saltwater crocodiles are not as social as the other crocodiles. You don't see usually many of them basking in one place. They like to be by themselves.
The saltwater species is especially powerful. Its bite force is said to be up to 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, look at that. Looks like something dead up there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Looks like the remains of a deer or... yeah, it's the remains of a deer.
Deer?
Yeah.
Oh.
Man, it's been ripped to pieces, and there's some crocodile tracks there too. So typically a croc raises his head out of the water, snaps the head off. The head and part of the guts went on the shore, but he swallows the rest down. Now there's a place in New Guinea, Irian Jaya, where I interviewed all the people who were relatives of the people who were killed by a man-eating croc. And they all said the same thing, that the croc shakes the human head off. And they sometimes find the head in the mud on the side, but the rest of the body is eaten.
The team is 6 hours into their search when they find what they are looking for.
Big one, man. That's the biggest one we've seen.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, it's very close to the human habitation. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was huge. And look, I mean, there's the village right there, and he's heading toward him. In fact, there's livestock right there. Maybe he's sort of looking up. Wow, nice cow up there. That is monstrous, man.
Yeah, maybe the livestock attracting the crocodiles in the human habitation.
That one was easily 18 or 20 feet long. I mean, that's the biggest croc we've seen on this trip so far.
This is the largest saltwater crocodile Whitaker has seen in his 40-year career. The Monster Quest expedition team, led by biologists Joe Wazalewski and Tony Gerard, is on its way to examine some remains in the Everglades. They hope to find proof that crocs here are growing to unprecedented sizes.
A big one. He said 15 foot. Died from a freeze last year. You got it?
Yeah.
See, Florida's the northernmost extent of the range of American crocodiles. They're very tropical animals. Wow, look at that.
What big vertebra.
Yeah, man. He said it was over 15, I think 15.3. Wow. The story I heard is it was cold last year, and cold is okay, but cloudy isn't.
Right.
So if it's cold, even in the 40s, they could come out and sit in the sun, but it wasn't the case. So it died, and the biologists from the park came out and did all the biometric data, and near as they could figure, 15.3. You know, that's getting close to what we're after now. I can tell you that.
This would mean the American crocs are approaching monster size. The team heads back out to find a living example.
See, Costa Rica has the same animals, and there's attacks there all the time. And what I think is I'm saying about 15 foot is their sort of cutoff. Over 15 foot, now we're considered prey, people. So I believe that's what the cutoff is. And I'll tell you what, a 15-foot crocodile is going to look like a dinosaur.
Wow, look at the size of his tail.
Wow. That's a big crocodile.
That man.
Monster Quest is combing the swamps and rivers of the world in search of oversized killer crocodiles. In India, the saltwater crocodile frequently comes into contact with mankind.
I was going down to the pond to get water to wash a tray.
This man was at the water's edge rinsing some dishes. He was unaware that he was being stalked from below the surface of the water.
I had no idea there was a big crocodile in the pond. I was just washing there when all of a sudden he charged me. He grabbed my arm and tried to pull me into the water. But I pulled as hard as I could and got my arm free. But I fell on the ground. I was screaming for help and the crocodile charged me again. This time he missed me, and now help had come and chased him away. I was bleeding very badly. And had to stay in the hospital for 22 days. It was a terrifying moment.
He survived, but will carry the scars and the fear of crocodiles with him for the rest of his life. The Monster Quest science team is braving crocodile-infested waters to document the largest crocodile in modern history. Local villagers tell of a monster croc that lives close, perhaps a modern-day super croc.
That's the biggest one we've seen. That's not a monster, you said? Yep. Nope.
They check the camera traps left the previous night to see if it yields any leads.
Wow. Man, that's good. That's big. But it's not the monster.
It's not the monster.
The team returns to the search area confident there are large and active crocodiles around. Low tide has arrived, making the search easier.
It's interesting, sometimes the big crocs, because of their weight, they know that it's hard to climb up on the bank, so they just hang out until the tide goes down and they're there. And then if they want to get away, they use gravity to get back down into the river. They're heavy. Some of the big ones would be close to a ton in weight, I think, if you're talking about it, 20-foot crocodile.
They move ever deeper into the mangrove swamp, exploring its narrow waterways. The area is teeming with crocodiles that could burst from the bush at any moment.
People say, like in these small creeks, when the crocodile comes into the water, it just covers the whole creek.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So,
yeah, if the creek is 20 feet wide here, a 20-foot croc could cover the entire
covering the entire creek.
The creek opens into a wider stretch of river.
Look, look, look! Wow, shucks! That's it. That's the big one.
The big demon heads for the water.
Look at the size of that son of a gun, man.
Swimming. Okay.
The monster croc swims with incredible speed, throwing a wake like a boat cutting through the water.
He's demonstrating to us. Yeah, this is the mating season, huh?
Maybe.
Look at that, look at that. That's very, very lucky to see this kind of stuff, man. That is something else, man.
Fantastic.
Okay, we've seen the big one, man. Jeez. Look at the slide mark, man. It looks like a bloody truck came down or a tractor or something. Look at that.
You can compare that and this one. That is like
no, anything we've seen so far is just a little gecko, man. This is really the monster. Whoa. Yeah, look at that little skinny crocodile track of a little 10-footer compared to that guy. You know? That is something else, man.
They exit the boat to get a better look and to measure the width of the monster slide compared to a nearby slide of a known 10-footer.
All right. Just do it to this mark here.
This mark here?
Yeah.
117.
117
centimeters.
How many inches
46,
is that?
46
inches. All right.
So,
you know, it'd be really nice to do the small one over there now.
Yeah,
if we can do that as well. Because we know what size that crocodile was. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool, man. Okay, better get in before he gets you.
They also measure the smaller slide made by a 10-foot female, likely the mate of the big male. The crew keeps a sharp eye on the water while the scientists work.
And this slide from here to here?
Yeah, just the slide.
52.
52 centimeters.
Okay. It's 117.
Yeah, it's done.
By comparing the belly slides, the team calculates the monster croc was almost 4 feet across, while the smaller female was less than 2 feet. This means the monster was double the size. The expedition team in Florida has found its own amazing set of tracks.
So that's the biggest haul out we've seen yet, right?
Yeah, not only that, a couple of things. It's fresh. See how that grass is just matted down, but look at the size. Look at the width.
Yeah, it's like 2-3 times the size of these others out there.
Right. We haven't seen anywhere near the width of this one. And I'll bet if we could get closer, you could see his hind footprint.
So
it's two of mine. This is a big crocodile, and that's a definite indicator of the size. If it is the one, he ain't here. Yeah. So, but it was here recently.
The tracks are fresh. The crocodile was in the area recently.
Man, that is a big print. Check that out. Look at that. That's bigger than my hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know if would that be a front foot or back foot?
No, that's his hind foot. And you can see how over time he's just pretty much wore it out, how smooth it is. But the width of this thing, now I can tell you, I have not seen one in Florida with the width of this.
Oh man, look at that. Look at this one that's partially in the water. You can see the claws and everything. God, that looks even bigger.
Oh yeah, no, so you're right. That is the front foot.
That's the front. That's the smaller foot.
Yeah,
God,
this one.
What? Man,
that hind foot is like this.
So this isn't a mixed crocodile.
Yes, it is. Oh, I would love to see this.
Oh
guy.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to measure this across this back foot. What do you think? Okay, so going from there to the tip of this toe up here is 17 inches.
Whoa.
I'm sure there's some distortion, but man, that's a big crocodile.
Okay, check that guy out. My God, stop here.
Monster Quest is on a worldwide hunt for monstrous killer crocodiles from the swamps of Florida to the waterways of India. The team is searching for these prehistoric creatures thought only to be 13 feet long, but may now be growing to much larger sizes. This man measured the skull of what villagers claim was a 30-footer. This paleontologist doesn't think modern crocodiles could ever get as big as their prehistoric ancestors. This veteran boat captain says he's seen a 20-foot crocodile right here in the United States. The expedition team is in Florida, where it's on the trail of a huge croc that they estimate measures 15 feet or more.
So he's probably 4 or 5 years. I don't want to get any closer.
Right, yeah, no need to bother.
And he's not marked? Really nice.
Oh, very good.
They've used a laser to measure the animal's size and have now entered one of the most remote regions of the Everglades. The area is so protected that motor travel in this area is limited. They must drift through the thick brush. Finally, as they pass a thick stand of trees, they make their ultimate discovery.
Okay, check that guy out. My God. Stop here. My God. Wow. That is a monster. Isn't it? I don't know how much you'll talk. You want to get up here? Or are you good there? But the tail is curved.
Right.
So what will that do?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, I think we can still make a measurement.
The team gets out their laser, which will allow them to precisely measure the beast.
Joe, is that the biggest crocodile you've seen in the wild down here?
That is the biggest one I've seen in Florida. Yes,
wow.
Absolutely. Captain Rick said this crocodile is longer than this 16-foot boat.
Yeah.
And you could actually believe that. That thing really is a monster. Look at the size of it.
Wow. But we know that those two dots are 12 inches apart.
Okay.
Now, the fact he's not laying completely horizontal is not good for us. Now, if he decides to take off suddenly, God, he's massive. Could he flip this boat?
No, he's just going to go straight under. But he will bring up a wake, I can tell you that. I've seen a lot of crocodiles down here. He's a monster. He's that could be 16 foot.
Right, and if that is 16 foot, that may be the biggest documented crocodile in Florida.
Yes,
huh?
Absolutely.
The team moves slightly to get a better measurement.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right on his eyeball. 8 and a little bit more. The only problem is there. And then if we can go around, we can get the tail. I'll bet that could be another 8, right?
So that's a rough estimate 8 and a half, snout
Maybe
to vent.
actually closer to 9. So
In a rough estimate. So what's a typical measurement, body to tail length? Are they usually equal, snout to vent and tail, or?
you know they're pretty close to being equal. Yeah.
That ratio puts this crocodile between 16 and 18 feet, meaning it's by far the largest crocodile ever recorded in the United States. To confirm this, the team gets out of the boat and tries to approach the beast on land.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, look at the size of his tail.
Yeah. Now that looks good. Tell me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Let's get right up to this tree here.
They need to get just a couple of steps closer to get a full measurement of the monster's tail. But before they can, the crocodile slides into the water. The team is confident this croc was the biggest in U.S. history, and its photographic evidence is proof.
That's the biggest one I've seen here in Florida. And the odds of us seeing a bigger one, I mean, we could try, but I don't think they're very good. We come out here in 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
That guy will be at 19, 20 feet.
Wow, which is the world record crocodile for any species currently, right?
Yeah, he was huge. He was the biggest I've ever seen.
Wow.
The Monster Science Team's search of the Predator.National Park in India has met with even greater success.
On the best day, we counted 37 crocodiles, and amongst them were one of the biggest crocodiles I've ever seen. It was a real monster crocodile.
This massive beast, called Masasur, or the Big Demon, has wounded and killed dozens of people. Measurements of his width compared with other adult crocs puts his length at more than 20 feet, possibly the largest croc in modern recorded history. Herpetologist Ram Whitaker has also completed his measurements of the skull found near Predator.National Park. Locals say it belonged to the historic monster called Kalia, the Black One. The legend says he measured more than 30 feet in length, but Whitaker's calculations tell a different story.
The skull of Kalia is about 30 inches long and weighs about 70 pounds. It's massive. It's very possible that it was 20 feet plus. 23 feet, well, I wouldn't be able to say that for sure, but certainly 20 feet is a great likelihood.
This Monster Quest expedition has made some startling discoveries. The expedition team saw the remains of a crocodile more than 15 feet long and photographed tracks of an even larger animal in the Florida Everglades. This monster croc measured more than 16 feet in length, an American record.
Check that guy out.
My God.
Stop here. Wow.
The science team traveled to India and found witnesses to attest to the aggressive nature and man-hunting attitude of these beasts. They filmed possibly the largest crocodile alive today. Evidence indicates that crocodiles are indeed getting bigger and are approaching unprecedented lengths.
The fact that a predator is living teeth to jowl, so to speak, with human beings right on the edge of the park means that conflict between crocodiles and humans could definitely go up.
Both the human population and the crocodile population continue to expand, and more habitat keeps getting chewed up every day. It's going to bring crocodiles and humans in increasingly closer contact. And as the population ages, I think we can expect to see even more really immense crocodiles here.
40% of a crocodile's mass is in the tail. I've seen a crocodile snap a half-inch nylon cord with one movement. I've seen a croc smash a human skull.
Crocodiles, they never stop growing. That's why you can see huge animals in the Everglades, and I think in the future you're going to see an awful lot more of them.
wide across.
In prehistoric times, a monster super croc roamed the earth and grew to sizes of up to 40 feet. But experts like University of Chicago paleontologist Paul Sereno says that such supersized crocodiles went extinct long ago and discounts speculation that these giants could return.
Today, crocs are a shadow, probably, of what their ultimate sizes were for most species, because they've been decimated, most of them. And it really takes crocs a long time to reach their absolute maximum size. We probably 100 years ago, 150 years ago, would have had a better shot at knowing how big the biggest crocs could get than today.
Not all experts agree.
And once the animal reaches like 15 feet in length or more, they're at a size where humans can be considered potential prey.
Biologist Joe Wazalewski has studied the American crocodile for most of his life. He says the population is growing.
Back 20 years ago, there was very few animals, and they have exploded at a power.
Wildlife and something else. One of the oldest predators in history, killer crocodiles. The worldwide casualties are staggering. Between 1,000 and 2,000 people are killed or maimed each year by these giant monsters.
For one thing, it grows to a huge size, and human beings are prey items.
A swimming pair of jaws is what makes crocs such formidable predators.
They do have the potential to reach 20 feet or more.
Eyewitnesses report seeing monster-sized crocodiles. They range in size from 16 to 30 feet and weigh in excess of 2 to 3 tons. These carnivorous reptiles are dark in color, with a long set of sharp, serrated teeth inside a powerful jaw, which can generate up to 3,000 pounds of force. Human encounters are growing more and more frequent. In 2009, residents of Coral Gables, Florida, complained that crocodiles were invading their backyards and devouring their pets. Every year, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission responds to more than 100 frantic calls of crocodile close encounters.
Right here is in part where the tooth slid down.
It was a late summer day on Playa Hermosa in Costa Rica. 13-year-old Floridian Dakota Kilbride was surfing the break just off the beach. But instead of catching the perfect ride, something caught him.
I was paddling, duck dived that wave, and then the crocodile went around, and then it came up right behind me. It grabbed me, and then it tried to pull me down one time. And I looked forward, and I looked in the middle of my board, and I said, I'm not going underwater. And then it shook me side, side, side again to try and get me loose off the board, and then pulled me down again. And as it pulled me down again, it got the big chunk off my leg.
Dakota doesn't know how, but he managed to make it to shore. Two friends witnessed the attack.
He didn't scream, but I just knew something was wrong.
And basically, the next thing I know, Andrea is pretty much starting to run.
The teenager was bleeding profusely and needed immediate medical attention.
And then I just heard someone say, please don't let me die. And I looked up and it was Dakota. And I was like, oh my God, that's my friend's little boy.
The closest hospital was more than 3 hours away and the wound was massive. Somehow he survived the long trip and doctors fought to save his life and his leg. It took multiple surgeries to repair the damage, but Dakota will bear the scars and the haunting fears for the rest of his life.
Well, right here, this is the bite, part of the bite, right here. Right here is in part where the tooth slid down.
The creature behind the horrifying attack was a species known as the American crocodile. It is the only crocodile native to the United States, with a population concentrated along the southern tip of Florida. The species is known to grow to between 10 to 12 feet in length and weigh an average of 500 pounds. Recently, there has been an increase in reports of much larger crocodiles measuring over 15 feet and weighing more than 2 tons.
I've been a professional captain for over 30 years. I fish out of a 16-foot Generation 3 John boat. It's 48 inches on the bottom, 60 inches across the top, and I am not exaggerating. I know this crocodile is easily as long as that boat and certainly as wide across the back as that boat is at the bottom. 4 feet.
Designed to tear prey apart.
And as it pulled me down again, it got the big chunk off my leg.
Once almost extinct in America, these beasts are now growing to unprecedented size.
They're at a size where humans can be considered potential prey.
They seem to be everywhere.
They are targeting mankind. With alarming frequency. Now, Monster Quest sets out to investigate the world's biggest killer crocodiles.
That's okay. Check that guy out. My God! Wow, now that is a monster.
Witnesses around the world report seeing monsters. Are they real or imaginary? Science searches for answers on Monster Quest. The Florida coast is a family vacation destination with pristine beaches, amusement parks, diverse